Hi everybody, it's McDonald speaking. Thank you very much for joining us for this last dollar index market commentary for 2010. Coming back to where we were last week, so literally on this daily chart now, stepping back 5 candles. We were back here where we had these 3 small candles, and I was looking for this potentially to be put in a lower high and break down through here to a lower low. Now both of those things happened as expected. However, the one thing that was completely unanticipated from my end was the follow through. I was expecting that if this made the lower high and broke down through this low, as identified by this blue arrow here, that we would continue in that downtrend. What actually happened was we came down to this very last, very small line of defense as well, the 78.6% Fibonacci level, but which also was corresponding with some previous highs through here, and we bounced right off that level, rejected, and we've now come back up and we've showed a higher high. It's a complete and utter rejection of the downside and a very, very bullish sign. So, did fall down a little bit, but now looking very strong to the upside on that daily chart, having broken up through this previous high here, and now looking, if anything, more like continuing on within that uptrend. Now, of course, we still need to look at higher time frames and see how they look. You remember also from previous videos, we've been looking at this monthly chart and saying how we've bounced off the 75 level many times, and with this bullish monthly candle for the November candle, if in December we can break up through the high of that candle around about 8,200, that will be very, very bullish indeed. Perhaps even looking for a big test up towards this previous, kind of high up here around about 90. And now I'm starting to expect that that is the likely scenario to happen. So in the longer term view, I'm not saying that will happen this week, but my bigger picture view now is I am looking for a breakup through that monthly high. So we've still got a fair bit to run to get there, but I'm expecting that to happen. And if we can break up through that high, I'm looking for quite a big run up north. At least projecting the distance here of this monthly candle and taking the same distance and projecting that to the upside. So roughly around about here, certainly roughly coming up and testing close to these previous highs is what I will be expecting, maybe even a push on beyond that, but of course we'll assess that as and when that develops. It's likely to develop, if I'm correct there, over a number of months, certainly not a number of days or weeks. Coming here to the weekly chart, this also now, having been in a downtrend, and really starting to looking like it might have continued, we've gone from being bearish with this red candle and breaking down through it to now the prospect of turning very bullish. So we've got this very bullish candle instead, completely contradicting that previous one at quite a key level through here where there's multiple touches. If we can now just break up through last week's candle, pretty much the last 2, even 3 weeks candles, but if we just take the highest point there, so the highest 81.01 and 81.01, so we've got an identical high for the last 2 weeks. What we now want to see is a break up through 81, and we're looking very bullish at a minimum for a test of 82, and that's where this 82 level is the monthly high where we're looking to kick in and see if we can break that. Then we're looking for a much bigger move. So I'm now very bullish there on these markets, and the daily dollar index, as we identified first, looking strong, having broken up through those highs. Even just quickly coming down for a moment, and let's come down here to an 8-hour chart. Note here how the 8-hour chart had formed some resistance here and is now really broken up through it, and broken up through it quite cleanly. And as we push up through there, how the indicators also are just pushing up to new highs as well on my MACD and RSI, showing good convergence, good strength, good continuation of that trend. Really expecting a rally now on the dollar index. Just coming and seeing how we're backed up by a couple of the other trading partners here. One I identified last week was dollar CAD for a potential breakdown through parity if the dollar index turned bearish. And what you'll see, in fact, let's come back up to the daily chart, but what you'll see is actually we came right down, and we literally, if we just look at the low of that candle, the low was parity on the nose. 1.0000 was the absolute low of that move, and then we've rallied 150 points already off that level. This is now starting to look bullish on the daily chart, and looking, especially now if we can break up through this level here, looking for a push back up to this next level around about 102.65. And if we just come out here and look at this on a weekly chart, maybe even coming back up towards the top of this range. So if we start to see the dollar index strengthen and the dollar therefore strengthen across the board, dollar CAD having bounced now off major support, looking like some good strength potentially to the upside there. One other one worth looking at today is dollar Swiss. And dollar Swiss we've talked about in a few videos over recent weeks, whereby we've seen this monthly chart starting to diverge as price made new lows, the indicators pushing up and making higher lows, and it's really looking at this for a potential break up again through parity. Now we've got at the moment a fairly bearish candle for December, which doesn't look so good, but if we just come down to a weekly chart, we can see we're starting to put in some higher lows here potentially, and we want to see some more detail. So coming to a daily chart, And as much as this is, not a clean uptrend yet, this low is certainly higher than the previous one back here. And this most recent low now, having come and put this low in, is also higher than the previous. So if we just mark those three lines, there's the absolute low of the move, there's that second low, and then you can see that currently now we've managed to hold. We haven't made lower lows, we've managed to hold those lows, and the candles have turned quite bullish. And again, based on last week, this is in fact a daily candle, but if we based it on the week's high, if we can just break up through there, which is last week's high, we are starting to look very bullish on dollar Swiss and looking for a break up to higher highs, so back up above parity again, and a good push on back up above these highs up through here. So all in all, the dollar is starting to show some real strength. Really, the bears have tried to push price lower. That's what happened back here. The bears tried to push price down. The bulls just completely took control, completely rejected those lower prices, and have pushed us back up to new highs. And just showing even more so now that we're starting to put in lows on the dollar on the higher time frames here, and we're looking for that bigger rally over many weeks and months. And even this week is looking quite positive for a bit of a run to the upside and a test back up towards the 8200 level. Happy trading all. I hope that you've enjoyed these updates for 2010. The next update will be on the 10th of January 2011. So between now and then, before we speak again, have a wonderful Christmas. I wish you the very best for your trading and that you enjoy the festive season, and look forward to seeing you for a big 2011. Happy trading all, happy holidays, and have a great week.